Hello everyone, this is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to the fourth episode of the BoxHard podcast. I'm joined today by Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Very good, very good. Okay, this show is called Review and Preview. It's the only show we bring to you, to be honest. This one's got a couple of guests on it as per usual. We're going to roll straight into the review part of the show. So we're going to talk about the fights last weekend. Where shall we start, Ayaz? Where shall we start?
I think we should start the fight that happened in Manchester, the big card.
The big card in Manchester. This is the Frank Warren card. Okay, some of the fights on that card I actually feel caught light more than a lot of people thought it would. So let's talk about that card. So obviously, top of the bill, Terry Flanagan, he fought Diego Magdaleno, stopped him in the second round. I'm not sure how many knockdowns was in the second round. I think it was 3 times Magdaleno was knocked down by Terry Flanagan. I hold my hands up and say that I thought this was going to be a tougher fight than what it was. A lot of people were unsure of how Terry Flanagan won his title. It was unconvincing the way he won it. But all the doubters were kind of hushed on Saturday night because he stopped him in the second round, and no one has done that to Diego Magdaleno. Anything to add on that fight, Ayaz?
Well, what a performance that was by Terry Flanagan. Second round, he knocked him out. I cannot believe it. I actually thought Diego Magdaleno was going to give him the toughest fight. But wow, Flanagan just shocked everyone.
Yeah, it did shock a lot of people. I personally thought if I had to put my money on someone to win that before the fight took place, I'd have put my money on Magdaleno, if I'm totally honest. I'm glad I didn't put any bet on that one. Moving down the card, Liam Smith. We previewed this fight last week and we was looking forward to it. Liam Smith is now the WBO World Super Welterweight title holder. Obviously, that super welterweight, also known as the light middleweight 154 title. So Liam Smith, the first of the Smith brothers to capture a world title, Ayaz.
Wow, what a win for Liam Smith. First Smith brother to win a world title. This win could lead into a big fight. This could lead into a fight with the likes of Shane Mosley, which there was an argument between the two of them on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, I did actually see that. I'm not quite sure how it started, but if you go onto Shane Mosley's Twitter page or Liam Beefy Smith's Twitter page, you will see back and forth between those guys. I actually thought it was quite a close fight in the early rounds. In the 6th round, Liam Smith seemed to get something in his ear in between the rounds, and he came out in the 6th with some new energy. He went looking for him, and he was just walking him down. He's throwing many good shots and landing good shots. And John Thompson was almost not saved by the bell in the end of the 6th round, but he was being hit way too often. In the 7th round, Liam Smith just came out and just went for him again. And obviously, he put him down once, and that was it. He fell on his face, and he didn't know where he was. So that was a brilliant win for Liam Smith. And everybody wants to win a world title via knockout. So he is ticked that box. Moving down the card, also Luke Blackledge was fighting Lee Markham. Lee Markham, everybody knows him for his big fight with Frank Buglioni. Lee Markham actually lost this one. Luke Blackledge won a 12-round unanimous decision, and this fight was for the Commonwealth British super middleweight title. I actually picked Markham to do this, but very unlucky. I don't think it was too much of I don't think it was as wide as what some people had it looking on Twitter. Tom Stalker was on the card. He fought Craig Evans. This was a draw, a split draw. A lot of people thought that Tom Stalker should have won this fight. So Yeah, he got a draw on his record, which is not good for him. That's his second draw now in 13 fights. Also down that card, Jack Catterall fought Jarkko Pukkonen. Jack Catterall, we're big fans of him on this show. He's moved to 13-0, and he's put the first blemish on Jarkko Pukkonen's record. He's now 12-1. Not a very exciting fight. Jack Catterall, he didn't seem to be. I mean, he was out boxing him. He won every round. It was a complete shutout. I think on all three of the judges' scorecards, he won this fight unanimously. But I don't know. It was very cagey for a lot of the rounds, and he didn't perhaps shine as most thought he would. Vijender Singh was also on the bill. He had his debut against Sonny Whiting. Vijender Singh, he is, for people that don't know, he's a Bollywood actor. He's massive in India. He's the first professional boxer from India, Ayaz?
Yes, he is.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people. He had a very highly anticipated debut. Everyone from India was tuned in, and he was trending on Twitter, which is quite unbelievable because it's only his first fight, but everyone was glued to their TV sets in India. Yeah, it's good, obviously, to get a stoppage on your debut. Everybody wants to do that third round stoppage. It was only a 4-rounder, but bigger and better things to come for him. Okay, moving over to York Hall. John Ryder was on the card. He fought Adam Jones, and John Ryder picked up a points win after 6 rounds. Johnny Coyle was on the card. He's moved to 11-0 with the 1 draw. He's also picked up the WBC Youth Intercontinental Super Lightweight title. Ben Hall was on the card. He picked up another win. Reece Bellotti moved to 4-0 with a 3rd round stoppage. Mickey O'Rourke moves to 5-0 with a 6-round points win. Ted Cheeseman, he moves to 2-0 with a points win after 4 rounds. Craig Richards moves to 2-0, points win after 4 rounds as well. Isaac Chamberlain was on the card. He picked up a points win. He now moves to 4-0. Of course, there was a card in Wales which featured Enzo Macronelli. Enzo Macronelli picked up a 5th round stoppage over Jiri Svacina. So Enzo gets his 40th win of his professional career. Our guest from last week, Gary O'Sullivan, he was fighting in the Lowell Memorial Auditorium in Lowell, Massachusetts. He stepped in against David Toribio. We talked about him, and he stopped him in the 2nd round. So Gary O'Sullivan, he was talking about his getting a 5th knockout in a row on last week's show, and he has picked up his 5th knockout in a row. I actually spoke to him after the fight on WhatsApp, and he was telling me that he's definitely going to get 6 knockouts in a row, and he's definitely going to knock Chris Eubank Jr. out. He also went out there with Stephen Ormond. He came out, he was actually with Spike out there, and he picked up a 1st round knockout. So both of them went over there and both got knockouts, one in the 1st round, one in the 2nd round. So very happy, I'm sure Packy Collins will be. Also on that night there was Eric Molina, who we saw fight Deontay Wilder. He was also not in the same venue, but he was fighting in Texas, and he got a 6th round knockout. So he moves to 24-3. Jorge Linares was out as well. He picked up a 4th round KO against Ivan Cano. That was on that crazy card in Venezuela. Alexander Ustinov got a 1st round knockout of Morris Harris, so he moves to 32-1. We announced last week that Sergei Kamitsky was on the card. He was fighting Alfonso Blanco for the interim WBA World Middleweight title, and Alfonso Blanco won via a 12th round decision unanimously. So he moves to 12-0, and he's the new WBA World Middleweight title holder. I think he actually had the title before the bout. He was defending it against Sergei Kamitsky, but he's still the champion. Okay, so that's it for the review part of the show. We're going to bring on our first guest. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Johnathon Banks. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. No problem. What was your reaction to the Batman press conference with Tyson Fury in London?
I just laughed at it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, he's a real showman for sure.
Yeah, Tyson. Tyson's Tyson. I've been knowing Tyson for quite some time, and he never disappoints. He always will be himself.
Do you think, because a lot of people criticise him, do you think he's good for the sport or bad for the sport of boxing?
I think any fighter, period, that gets in the ring to fight is good for the sport. You talking about boxing? So he gets in the ring. He don't chicken out. He gets in the ring fully prepared to fight. So I think in that manner, and he's undefeated. How could he not be good for the sport? You got a big guy that takes the fight to you, and he's undefeated at the moment. So how could he not be good for the sport?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just, not a fan of his antics. Me personally, I think he's good for the sport, of course.
I mean, you got to understand, antics started back in the 70s. Before, it was unheard of for antics to happen. It was unheard of. Muhammad Ali started it off. And from then on, it's been a domino effect. Because no one knew that you could really do that to a person. Can you really piss a person off? At the beginning, back when Jack Johnson and Joe Louis was fighting, you look at a guy, you shake his hand, and you go beat him. That was proper protocol. You go fight him. That's all it was. And nowadays, with all the media attention out here, just think about if Muhammad Ali had social media at the time when he was trying to fight Sonny Liston. You know how crazy it would have been? But with no social media, he still managed to let the world know that's who he wanted to fight and why he wanted to fight him. So I think antics like that always been a part of boxing. And that always keeps the average everyday person in tune into boxing, because other than that, they wouldn't be in tune. They wouldn't know about it. People like controversy, no matter how you look at it. If you in a crowd, if you somewhere, you hear a big noise outside, and the crowd going to see somebody fight, you're gonna wonder what's going on. It's controversy. People like it, so I think it's good for the sport.
Is Muhammad Ali the greatest of all time?
In my opinion, yes.
Better than Vlad?
I think Muhammad Ali is the greatest heavyweight of all times, and I think Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest fighter of all times. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay. The fight has been rescheduled for the 28th of November.
Yes.
Where did this injury, where was it sustained? I know that a lot of people were saying, how did he get injured? Was he out of the gym? Where did he pick this injury up, Jonathan?
That I don't know. That you have to ask him. I'm not sure exactly what point, where was he at location-wise.
Okay. We had Peter Fury on the show last week, and we asked him about, the Klitschko camp and yourself, and he was very, very respectful of everything that you do, and the way you prepare your fighter. And, he had nothing but respect for you guys.
Well, I met Peter Fury for the first time in London after that press conference, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for Peter Fury. He's a gentleman. He's a nice guy, and I really enjoyed speaking with him.
Yeah, he is a very good guy. What do you prefer, training or fighting, Jonathan?
That's kind of difficult. That's like asking the chef, do he prefer cooking or eating?
Very good comparison.
I don't know. I can't, but I tell you one thing. I love them both. I do. I have a passion for both of them, and I just love them both.
And which fighters do you train? Obviously, we know about Wladimir, we know about Dillian. Is it just those two, or is it any other guys?
I train Cecilia Bracus as well.
Okay. Is he a heavyweight?
No, Cecilia is the female. She's the first female to ever capture an undisputed championship.
Oh my! Excuse my knowledge on the female.
No, it's okay.
Boxing.
It's okay. No problem. A lot of people is not knowledgeable about females, and a lot of females train just as hard, if not harder, and fight just as hard, if not harder than 90% of male fighters. But they just don't get the acknowledgement or the accolades, or they don't get a lot of
credit.
a lot of attention or credit about the situation. But I feel for the first female to ever capture the Undisputed Championship, the Undisputed World Title, and all the females that came through the years, from Christy Martin to Lucille Riker to Layla Ali, I think that's a very big accomplishment, and I think it should be. I wish it could be acknowledged, but I'm pretty sure it would be something that's overlooked. As soon as you got a notable male fighter, as soon as he throw a rock in the empty field, the tension goes there.
Of course. Obviously, you picked up most, if not all, of your training knowledge from the legendary Manny Stewart. Do you use these?
I would say all.
Oh yeah, I thought you would. Do you use these techniques also with the female that you look after?
Yeah, because a lot of people think that look at Emmanuel saying he only trained heavyweights, but he started his career off with welterweights and lightweights. You know, his brother was a middleweight in the Golden Glove amateur champion. That was the actual first champion Emmanuel ever had. Was his little brother. You know, so he didn't start off. It took a long time for him to get to heavyweights, but he was just the type of guy that could train anybody. He also trained Lucille Riker, and I believe that she fought on the undercard of Lennox and I want to say Tommy Morrison. I want to say she fought on that undercard. But so he was able. I was around him, looking at him, all these different styles that he was training, and it only benefited me and allowed me to be able to do the same thing because I was able to see it. So he had a style and a gift to train male or female, left hand or right hand, brawler or boxer, and I feel I have the same thing because that's what I feel I'm able to do.
Yeah. Who do you think is the best prospect in world boxing at the moment?
The best prospect?
Yes.
Wow, that's kind of difficult to say.
So many.
The best prospect. It's a lot of guys out there that I see, you know, coming up. So it's kind of difficult to say. You got and there's a lot of guys I like. I like Crawford. Crawford just crowned champion from Nebraska. Very good, very nice guy. Very, you know, he's a good champion. Just a lot of them out there.
Yeah. I just want to point out, you mentioned the Lennox Lewis and Tommy Morrison. That's actually that was 20 years ago today. That fight.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
You knew that one. Also.
Yes, it was.
What's your thoughts personally, your thoughts on Shannon Briggs?
My personal thoughts?
Yes.
And not my political thoughts?
Give us whatever you want.
My personal thoughts is, number one, I like Shannon.
Yeah.
I met Shannon a long time ago. Years ago. It's been over 12, 13 years now I met him. And Shannon always been a nice guy. But how can I put this? I just don't think Shannon is as serious about boxing as he make it out to be. I think he got one goal in mind, and that's to fight the brother of the brother that he already lost to. And reason being, he could if it was the sense of being a champion, then he'd go after Deontay Wilder. He's closer to Deontay than he is to Wladimir. So he would go after Deontay Wilder. But it's not about getting the championship. I think it's about getting paid. Since it's about getting paid, who carries the most value? Wladimir Klitschko. Who carries the linear titles? Who's been reigning champion the longest? Who you're not gonna get booed if you lose to? Wladimir Klitschko. You're gonna say, "Oh, you lost to him," but hey, your excuse is he done beat everybody. What you want me to do? You know, but you can't say that about Deontay Wilder. You lose to him, dude. Why in the heck you take the fight? You too old to this, you too old to that. So it's a lot of things. It's a lot more criticism he get if he fight somebody like Deontay Wilder, you know, or any top 20, 30 guy in the world. He haven't fought not one. That's what I don't get. People say Wladimir Klitschko should fight Shannon Briggs. Why? Because he asked. The guy at the bar is a guy. What if a guy at the bar last week asked to fight me or asked me to train him? Am I wrong for not fighting him or not training him? No. You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody asked for it don't mean they deserve it.
Yeah. And do you think Deontay Wilder's the best heavyweight from the USA at the moment, taking yourself out of the equation?
Is Deontay Wilder the best heavyweight in the United States at the moment? You know what? I would look bad if I say no, because he is the WBC heavyweight champion.
Yeah, but obviously
and it would look a little crazy if I just be like, yeah, he is. He's the best. He's the best. Woo-hoo. I mean, I look at the best as beating the best. So that's just my opinion, though. You know, if you fought, like, if you name me 5 heavyweights that you could think of right now that came up fighting the competition that he's came up fighting and made champion.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I mean, number one, I can't think of not one of them. Okay, you know, but at the same time, these guys didn't get paid to take a dive. And please don't think this is no disrespect to Deontay Wilder. He's a good friend of mine. He's a nice dude. I like the guy a lot. That's my guy. You know, it's my guy. But we just talking the politics of boxing. And I think Deontay Wilder is a very good heavyweight. Very talented heavyweight, you know, but is he the best heavyweight in the United States? I can't fix my mouth to say yeah, because there's so many other ones out there that has better footwork than he. Yeah. I mean, he got good hand speed. Great. I love his hand speed. And I like his power. Good power. Very good puncher.
Absolutely. The other thing I was going to ask, this is the last question I've got. Obviously, you're now training Dillian Whyte. He's got a big fight with Joshua on the 12th of December.
Man, yeah.
Dillian sparred with Vlad, so I'd imagine he's got, he's always fighting taller guys, so he's not, the height's not going to be a problem. But how do you prepare him for Joshua? Because I know that you've actually seen Joshua a few times in camp. Do you think Joshua's as special as they say? You know, do you reckon a lot of people think Dillian's going to get flattened? What's your thoughts on this fight?
I think that's going to be the makeup of boxing. That's the makeup of boxing. One majority thinks one guy gonna get flattened, the majority think this guy gonna win. So that's the makeup of the sport. That's the beauty of the sport. Everybody, one side thinks this, one side thinks that, and everybody have to come out to see what happens or tune in to see what happens. That's just the beauty of the sport. But and I had Dillian Whyte in camp with Wladimir 3 times for sparring. And Joshua was in there, I believe, once or twice, maybe once. And I gave Joshua handwork a few times as well. Is he as special as they make him out to be? I'm not sure how exactly. Well, I guess I know I'm a little knowledgeable of how they're making him out to be. They're making him out to be as the guy that's walking on water, you know. But at the end of the day, I think he's a good fighter, very talented. And he got a good feel for his opponent's energy in the ring. And I have nothing negative to say about it. But also, Dillian Whyte has a very good chance on beating Anthony Joshua, simply because no one really knows him. He's just not starting to get his name put out there. But now they're starting to realize his name always been there. They just haven't been talked about. And I just think that he has a very good chance of beating him because of his style and his techniques that he's learning. And styles make fights. Always have and always will.
Well said. My partner here has got a couple of questions for you, and then that'll be it, Jonathan. Ayaz, come in.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you first?
I'm good.
What's your relationship with Wladimir Klitschko like?
It's like 2 brothers, man. I mean, we've been together for so long, so it's like 2 friends, 2 brothers. It's like a really, really good relationship.
Yeah, okay. I want to ask you about your past. How did you link up with Emmanuel Stewart?
Local Detroit amateur. I was a part of his amateur program and walked in the Chronic Gym. I ended up winning a tournament that he took us to, and I don't know how. We started talking one day. He seen me at the gym every day. I was part of the amateurs he brought out to the Pocono
Toronto to meet Lennox Lewis for the first time. I think I was like 15 years old or something. I was always around. I was part of his amateur program, so that Emmanuel was really big in amateurs. He was bigger. He paid more attention to amateurs than he did to pros when he was home. How many amateurs you know that could train for a different tournament in Lennox Lewis training camp? You know, we going down to train for a tournament in Lennox Lewis training camp. So for me, that was amazing.
And do you know, like, who was there as well?
Who was there at the Kronk Gym?
Yes.
Everybody was there, man. Holyfield was coming down there. Michael Moore was down there. Everybody was down there. Tommy was still down there. Everybody was down there, man. Like, you can name them. It was so, and they got to like, this is the 90s. Everybody was still fighting in the 90s.
That must have been a very good time back then for boxing.
Man, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I still tell a lot of people about it that's in the new Kronk Gym now. Say they would never understand the concept of the Kronk Gym. I mean, I'm meeting guys who trained with Joe Louis, and all of them are gone passed away now, but I was able to meet these guys, talk to these guys. It was unbelievable experience.
Wow, it must be crazy. And one last question. Were you there at the time when Fury came to Vladimir's camp?
Of course.
And can you tell us something about it?
Fury was a super nice guy.
Super nice guy.
I got the picture that he wanted to take a picture with Wladimir and Emmanuel. I got a picture on my phone right now. Wladimir, Tyson Fury, Anthony, and Emmanuel Stewart.
Wow. Okay.
Take a picture together.
Thank you, and I'll pass you back to Joey.
Okay.
Jonathan, thank you for coming on the show. Sorry we couldn't get you on any sooner, but I think that might have been my fault. Man. But Jonathan, listen. Pleasure. You've been absolutely fantastic, and I wish you the best of luck for the future. Please take good care. God bless.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Same to you. Anytime I do the show. Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, moving on to the second part of the show. This show is called The Review and Preview. We're through to the preview part of the show. Okay. So, fighting on Wednesday night, Lee Selby defends his IBF World Featherweight title against Fernando Montiel. Fernando Montiel, he's obviously very, very experienced. 54 wins, 4 losses and 2 draws. He's 36 years old. He steps in against Lee Selby, who is one of our most promising fighters from the UK. Ayaz, do you have any comments for that fight?
Yes, I reckon this is going to be a very tough fight for Lee Selby. Obviously, Montiel, he's had fights with like Nonito Donaire, hasn't he? Nonito Donaire stopped him, I think, is it the second round?
Yes, he stopped him in the second round. Yeah, so he's experienced. However, he's actually fought in Mexico for the last... Well, he picked up one loss, which was to Nonito Donaire. But since that loss, which was in 2011, he has fought every fight in Mexico. So he hasn't actually fought in the States since he's lost to Nonito Donaire. And of course, this one is in the States. It's in Arizona. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy has. He's 5'4". Of course, Lee Selby will have the reach over him. So it'll be interesting. What do you think? What preview? Give me a prediction for this fight, Ayaz.
I see this going to points. With Lee Selby winning it.
Okay, I disagree with that. I mean, Selby, he's big for his weight. He's 5'8.5", so he's got a massive. He's a lot taller than this guy, and I personally think. I mean, the guy's ranked 15th in the world. Of course, Lee Selby is ranked number 6. I'm going by BoxRec rankings here, so you can argue it's arguable how accurate it is. But, this guy's fought once this year. He's fought a guy called, I don't even know how to say his name, but he's fought once this year already, and he picked up a 10th round unanimous win. Obviously, that was in Mexico, as I said. I mean, yeah, I think that Lee Selby will probably get his 9th stoppage. But also, Lee Selby, he hasn't knocked many people out. He's only got the 8 knockouts, but I think he will knock this guy out, to be honest with you. And, he's a fantastic champion, Lee Selby. He's one of my favourite fighters at the minute. But, hopefully gets a stoppage, hopefully defends it, and gets a few more defences under his belt. It's very good for Lee Selby because, as far as I'm aware, I think this is the first time he's actually headlined a card. I know that he's been on a few of Joshua's undercards. He won the world title at the O2 Arena fighting Gradovic at the Royal Britannia. Was it the Royal Britannia card?
Yes, it was. Frankie Gavin and Kell Brook fight.
Ah, okay. So was Joshua on that bill as well?
Yes, Anthony Joshua vs Kevin Johnson.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean the headline fight there was Kell Brook, Frankie Gavin. So he's actually headlining his first it's the first time he's headlining the card, and he's got Devon Alexander on his undercard. Devon Alexander fights a guy called Aaron Martinez. I think Devon's probably going to pick up an easy win here. Haven't seen much of Aaron Martinez, but that's it for Wednesday night. So it's a bit strange. There's a Wednesday night show. Also, there is boxing on Thursday. Just the one fight I want to mention. In New Zealand, Joseph Parker, heavyweight prospect, is back out again. He fights Kali Meehan, who's vastly experienced, 42 wins, 5 losses, and Joseph Parker, 15-0. He tries to move to 16-0. And moving over to Friday night, Andre Fonfara fights Nathan Cleverly. This is in Fonfara's newfound home, as you may as well say, the United States. He's fought a few fights over there now. We have to remember, because he actually lives in Chicago, Illinois, so this one really is in his back garden. He fought Dudu Ngumbu there in 2014. He's been to this arena a few times, the UIC Pavilion, Chicago. Fonfara, we have to remember, he obviously made a name for himself when he fought Adonis Stevenson. To be honest with you, I didn't know who he was before that. He's been in there with the likes of, Glenn Johnson, a lot of fighters, Carpensy, who Adonis Stevenson fought recently, but he got his shot at Adonis Stevenson and he done very, very well. To be honest, he gave Adonis probably his hardest fight, so he kind of made a name for himself in that fight. Obviously, he lost unanimously after 12 rounds, but then he fought Dudu Ngumbu. He got a 10 round unanimous decision win over him. Then he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. retired on his stall after the 9th round. And remember, he was knocked down by Fonfara, and Chavez is known for a good chin. So Fonfara he's making a name for himself now, and he fights Nathan Cleverly, of course. It's for the WBC International Light Heavyweight title, which he won in the fight against Chavez Jr. How do you see this one going, Ayaz?
This is a very tough fight for Cleverly, to be honest. I reckon, this fight can go either 50-50 way, but if it has to go, I reckon it'll go to points decision.
And if it goes to a points decision, is there the possibility that he could get robbed here, Nathan Cleverly?
I reckon he could probably get robbed and give it, and the fight will go to Fonfara.
Yeah, remember, we haven't really seen much of Cleverly since the fight with Tony Bellew. He obviously lost on split decision, which it shouldn't have even been a split decision. Cleverly was awful that night, if you don't mind me saying. He come back and he fought Thomas Mann. That was again at the O2 Arena. He stopped him in the first round. It was after about 25 seconds. So he hasn't really fought properly since the Bellew fight, and I think that the Bellew fight took a lot out of him. If I have to make a prediction here, it's going to be the Fonfara win, but I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. Okay, so moving down that card, it's really full of prospects, to be honest with you. 11-0, 4-0, 3-0, 3-0, 5-0. So there's a lot of guys on that card, not notable names as of yet. But anything else to add for the Saturday night, Ayaz? Where should we start for Saturday night? Because it's absolutely littered with fights.
I think we should start on Saturday night, the Battle of Broome. Sam Eggington.
Yes, he was supposed to fight Frankie Gavin, but Frankie Gavin's had to pull out with an injury. They're looking to reschedule that fight, but of course, Sam Eggington, he's now fighting Dale Evans. So it's a shame he's not fighting Frankie Gavin, but he fights Dale Evans, who's also a credible opponent. It should be a good clash. Cal Yafai's on the bill. He fights Jason Cunningham. This is for the vacant British super flyweight title. Khalid Yafai tries to move to 17-0. His brother Gamal Yafai tries to move to 8-0 on this card as well. Matthew Macklin gets out again. He fights Jason Wellborn. What do you think Matthew Macklin has left in his career, Ayaz?
I reckon he's got a couple of fights left in him as well. He said, I heard him saying that he wants a world title shot. It said on Sky Sports News today, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's got left, to be honest. We saw him get stopped by Ireland. We saw him get crushed by Golovkin, of course, who we have to talk about as well. So we move to the Golovkin card. Golovkin fights this weekend against David Lemieux. Golovkin 33-0, David Lemieux 34-2. This is brilliant for boxing, this fight, because we don't get as many unification fights as we should, in my opinion. So Golovkin obviously holds the majority of the belts, but Lemieux holds the IBF world middleweight title, which he won in his last fight. He fought Hassan Ndam and won that unanimously after 12 rounds. He now defends his title in his first defense against the beast Gennady Golovkin, who brings to the table his interim WBC world middleweight title, his IBO world middleweight title, and his WBA super world middleweight title. So this is a big fight for boxing. I think it's fantastic. It's at the Madison Square Garden. Where else could it be? Moving down that card. Oh, sorry. I'm sure you'll want to say a word on that fight, Ayaz. Golovkin Lemieux.
Oh, this is going to be a firecracker fight. Golovkin, oh my God, this guy is just the future of boxing, in my opinion. Probably the next pound for pound fighter. But I was just watching the fight, the HBO preview of Golovkin and Lemieux. When Golovkin said, I'm going to make this a street fight, right? The face of Lemieux's face, oh my God, this fight, it's going to be a knockout or a stoppage somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Both guys can really crack. Obviously, Lemieux has got the... Golovkin's got 30 knockouts in 33 wins, and Lemieux, he has 31 knockouts in 34 wins. So combined, they both have 61 knockouts in 67 wins. So yeah, both of them can really crack, and I definitely would put my money on there being a stoppage. Moving down that card, Roman Gonzalez, who's just come into the picture lately, but he's a cracking fighter. But he fought a lot of under the radar fights. He is 43-0, which is a cracking record. Obviously, if he goes on for another 6 more wins, and he will equal the record of Rocky Marciano and Mayweather. So fantastic little fighter in the flyweight division there. So everyone should watch that fight. Luis Ortiz, the interim WBA world heavyweight title holder, he defends his belt. He's been out the ring for a long time. He fights Matias Ariel Vidondo. Luis Ortiz 22-0, Matias Ariel Vidondo 21 loss and 1 draw. Moving over to Eagle Bank Arena, Virginia, Lamont Peterson fights Felix Diaz. This is the first fight back for Lamont Peterson from his loss to Danny Garcia. So we'll see what he has. I actually thought he won that fight. So he fights again. Do you think Lamont Peterson's good enough to win another title in the 140 division, Ayaz?
Yeah, I reckon he could win a world title 140 division. He's a very good fighter. In my opinion, when he fought Garcia, I actually thought he won the fight.
Yeah, so do I, yeah. Do you reckon, how do you think a fight would go down between Lamont Peterson and Terence Crawford at 140?
Oh, this is a very tough one, because they're both very good fighters. I reckon, from my perspective, I reckon it'd go to Terence Crawford.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree. I don't think Lamont was one of the strongest champions. Obviously, we saw him get stopped, I think, in the second round against Matisse a couple years back now. and that wasn't for his title. It was at a catch weight, and the title wasn't involved, and I think he still held the title despite that. And but yeah, that's another story. Moving on to another bill in America, this one in Connecticut. Demetrius Andrade. We've all been waiting for him to return to the ring. He's back in action, trying to get to 22-0. He has been stripped of the WBO World Superweight. The WBO World Super Welterweight title. He's been stripped of that, which is again obviously known as the 154 title. Demetrius Andrade stripped of that. His last fight was the 7th round TKO victory over our very own Brian Rose. So he hasn't been in the ring for 16 months. He fights Dario Fabian Puchetta. Also, I should have gone from United Kingdom to the USA, but I have been flicking back and forth. In York Hall, Matty Askin fights Lawrence Bennett. Matty Askin 18-3. He fights Lawrence Bennett 7-1. Matty Askin obviously lost to our guest last week, Oval McKenzie. Leon McKenzie is on the bill as well. He fights John McCallum. This is a real grudge match. There's some clips you can see on YouTube. They did a head-to-head. John McCallum brought up some of the past experiences that Leon McKenzie's gone through. He talked about his depression, and it nearly kicked off. They had to end the face-to-face. So, yeah, that's a proper grudge match at York Hall. Floyd Moore fights on the bill. Matt McCarthy's on the bill. Wadi Camacho is on the bill as well. It's quite a packed bill. There's actually, I'll tell you right now how many fights are on that bill. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 19 fights on that bill. So if anybody can get down to the York Hall in Bethnal Green, you'll definitely get your money's worth. Okay, and it's time for our second guest on the show. We speak to one of the hottest prospects in British boxing at the moment, Mr. Isaac Chamberlain. Isaac, welcome to the show.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just chilling, chilling after a good fight on Saturday. So I'm just relaxing now, waiting for my next time out.
Thanks for speaking to us so close after the fight, and thanks for coming on at such short notice.
Yeah, no problem. It's all right.
Do you know when you're out next, Isaac?
I'm thinking hopefully November in Liverpool or December the 12th.
December the 12th. December the 12th. That's the Juicy London card.
Yeah, with Dylan and Joshua.
Is Dylan training down at your gym at the moment?
Yeah, he's training at the gym, but I think he just went to America to train over there for a training camp over there to prepare for Joshua. So he's either here or there. I don't know really. I ain't really asked him.
Yeah, because I know he's going to be going over to the Kronk. As I say, you're on this earlier on in the show. We spoke to Johnathon Banks, so it's good to get you both in the same thing because obviously he's now training Dillian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's really good like that he's teamed up with him. I see a difference in his training and everything.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear. Because I know you personally, I'm allowed to put you on the spot. What do you think about this fight, Isaac? What do you think? Honestly, in your opinion, how do you think this fight goes?
Well, it's kind of 50-50, more closer than a lot of people think because Dylan's going to come to fight and knows that GC Joshua with an opponent that actually hit back. So, boy, it's gonna be a very good fight. I'll be keeping a close eye on it, definitely watching it. But I really don't know, I don't know what could happen. It's really that close.
Yeah, because obviously you've sparred Joshua, is that right?
Yeah, I sparred him.
You sparred Dillian?
Yeah.
Okay, so you sparred him both. Yes, I'm sure you know a lot more than a lot of people know. He was given a lot of limelight for helping Deontay Wilder prepare for his WBC world title fight against Stiverne. What's it like sparring the big man Deontay himself?
Sparring Deontay, it was like I was preparing for a fight every day. I had to get mentally prepared because this guy was serious. He didn't, obviously because I was the youngest and I was the lightest in the camp, he still didn't give me any, you know, he didn't let me off. Like, he came to fight. He came like proper, like prepared. Like,
that must be really good for your confidence, because when you was in his camp, I don't know, had you turned pro at that point, or is you just about 1 or 2 fights into your pro career?
no, I'd never had a pro fight yet. That was when I was preparing for January 31st for my debut. So I was over there, spent the whole Christmas over there.
Yeah, that's brilliant, because you must have walked into your first, well, you've had 4 fights now. You must be walking into them with so much confidence because of, you know, this competitive sparring, because you're able to hold your own against people like Deontay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It showed what I have. It showed that I can be a world-class opponent. I can be a world-class athlete and mix it with one of the best in the world at heavyweight, and I'm only a cruiserweight. So imagine what I can do at the cruiserweight division.
Yeah. Isaac, do you see yourself moving up to heavyweight one day?
If the money's right. You know,
Because
if the money's right, because like I've been this weight for about 4 years so far. Like nearly about 4 years, I've been the same weight. So and I'm always training, and I'm always eating correctly, eating right. You know, so it kind of depends really on my team and my management and my trainer. If we will agree to it, and it's better for everything. Hopefully, I want to dominate the cruiserweight division, you know, at world level. I'm thinking about making a move.
okay, and I mean, you've obviously had the 4 fights now. A lot of people, I don't know if they've looked deep into your opponent's records, but the losses on the records, if you look at how many times that opponent's been stopped, they're very durable people that you've fought. You've fought people who have maybe had quite a few losses, but they've been stopped next to no time. So they're not, the people you fought, they're really durable. So you've gone the rounds with all of them. You've had 4 4-round fights. You've been 16 rounds, so you've gone the distance. You haven't got a stoppage yet, but that doesn't worry you, surely. I know that you've got a lot of power. Perhaps people just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's kind of true. You know, I got, you know, it's good experience, especially because before my debut, I didn't box as an amateur for about a year and a bit. You know, so it's good to get the rounds in and get back into the ring in a professional ring and get all the rounds in. But it's really good. You know, the stoppages will come, and it will come against opponents that want to hit back and up-and-coming prospects as well. So, you know, I get the rounds with a gentleman and learn as much as I can until I start to, you know, I know what's going to happen. Like, imagine if I've been knocking everyone out and then I come across someone that can take my punches. What am I going to do then?
Yeah, it's very good experience you get, because it can go 2 ways when people turn pro. Sometimes they knock people out all the time and they go, oh, well, what's going to happen if he goes to distance? Sometimes you go to distance and people say, oh, where's his power? So it's hard to win people over. But everybody, if they're not believing in you now, then they definitely should, because they'll regret it, because we all know that you're on course for big things in the future. Without jumping the gun, who do you feel confident against? I know, obviously, you talked about the people that you've sparred, these world level guys. Who would you want in your next 2 to 3 fights? Are you ready for anyone in the world right now?
In the world, it kind of all depends on my team, really. You know, it's not really. I would say it is my choice, but you know, if they put me with anyone, I'll be like, yeah, I'll take it. Because, you know, you got to take risks to go out there and be the best. But it's just mostly down to my team and management. If they think I'm ready to take on this type of opponent, we'll train for them and then we'll beat them.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like I say, I know you personally. I know that you really would fight anyone. And it's almost like your team have to kind of hold you on the ground and say, look, you know, you've got to do this one step at a time. We've got to build up slowly. But everyone believes in you, and I'm sure that you will be able to win a British title next year.
Yeah, definitely. Just about taking step by step, taking one step at a time, you know. So it will all come into fruition. It will all come into play very soon.
Okay, and what are your goals in boxing? What if if there's one thing you could do in boxing, what would it be?
It would be, you know, to become the best that I can be. You know, going to win world titles and, you know, go into the Hall of Fame and most importantly, inspire others because to inspire others to be, if I could do it, you can do it as well. Because I basically came from nothing. I basically came from nothing. So if I can do it, then definitely you can. Because impossible is nothing. Anyone can do it. I just want to inspire everyone.
Do you know what? That's a very, very educational answer that you give me there. Not a lot of people 4-0 would go on to say that, but it just goes to show where your mind is. You're really grounded, and you know what you have to do to be at the top, which is very impressive. That you know that after just 4 fights, Isaac.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Isaac, I'm going to pass you over to my partner. I think he's got 2 or 3 questions for you, and then we should be done.
Okay, no problem.
Ayaz, bring yourself in.
Hello, Isaac. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. What's up?
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, hopefully holding a version of the Cruiserweight title, probably IBF, WBO, WBC. Hopefully, I like the WBC. That's like one of my favorite belts.
Okay.
So hopefully holding one of them and kind of remaining undefeated.
Yeah, Isaac, last question. Something that Ayaz said sparked something in my head that I forgot to ask. If you can, let us know, right now, today, if tomorrow there was a fight between Wilder and Joshua, will Joshua be able to handle Wilder?
I kind of think so, because Joshua, he's very strong, very athletic. And I think it's a difference between their cores. Joshua's a very composed fighter. Wilder is a bit, wild. It's just in his name. He's a bit, I wouldn't say all over the place, but, he punches. I think he kind of punches harder than Joshua, but Joshua's a more compact puncher. So it's basically who he lands first.
Okay. Well, Isaac, like I say, thank you for coming on at such short notice, and thank you for being the second guest on today's show.
Thank you very much, Isaac.
All right, no problem.
Thank you very much. Brilliant.
All right, take care.
Okay, I think that concludes this episode of the BoxHard podcast. I would like everybody to come back next week. Please retweet, please share, please tell your friend to tell their friends, tell their friends to tell their friends and their friends and their friends. Please follow us on Twitter at BoxHard Podcast. We're also on iTunes now. If you've got an iPhone, an iPad, something like that, you can go onto the podcast preset application. You can search for the BoxHard Podcast. You can find us on there. We're also on SoundCloud, but please follow us on Twitter and let your friends know. Thank you very much to our guests for appearing on this show as well, of course, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you very much.